Hi guys, Naeem here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's doing good out there. It's another sunny day here in Thailand and I'm back with another video surrounding the latest drama that's happening out there in the ethos. Now, Lana Del Rey. Baby, what is you doing? Honestly, now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with all the controversy that's just happened in the last 24 hours, but none other than Miss Lana Del Rey took to Instagram to express her thoughts and her feelings on what she thought about the music industry in today's business. Now, I love Lana Del Rey. She is honestly one of my favorite artists out there, and ever since she came out in 2012, I've been listening to her. But with this recent revelation and the opinions that she's kind of put out there and expressed, it's definitely left a lot to kind of dissect and wonder. So I'm going to go over all of the drama today and see if she had any valid points or if maybe she was a bit out of touch. And then I'm also going to show you guys some responses and reactions from some of you out there. So yeah, stay tuned because it's about to get messy. Hello.
Hello.
You alright?
Mm-hmm.
So Lana uploaded the post to her Instagram yesterday and it says, "Question for the culture. Now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Camila, Cardi B, Kalani and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have had number ones with songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, fucking, cheating, etc. Can I please get back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being in love, even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for the money, or whatever I want without being crucified or saying that I'm glamorizing abuse? I'm fed up with the female writers and alt singers saying that I glamorize abuse when in reality, I'm just a glamorous person singing about the realities of what we are all now seeing are very prevalent emotionally abusive relationships all over the world. With all of the topics women are finally allowed to explore, I just want to say that the last 10 years, I think it's pathetic that my minor lyrical exploration detailing my sometimes submissive or passive roles in my relationship has often made people say I've set women back hundreds of years. Let this be clear, I'm not a feminist, but there has to be a place in feminism for women for women like me, the kind of woman who says no, but men hear yes, the kind of women who are slated mercilessly for being their authentic, delicate selves, the kind of women who get their own stories and voices taken away from them by stronger women or by men who hate women. I've been honest and optimistic about the challenging relationships I've had. Newsflash, that's just how it is for many women. And that was sadly my experience up until the point that those records were made. So I just want to say it's been a long 10 years of bullshit reviews up until recently, and I've learned a lot from them. But I also feel it really paved the way for other women to stop putting on a happy face and to be able to say whatever the hell they wanted to in their music. Unlike my experience where if I even expressed a note of sadness in my first two records, I was deemed literally hysterical as though it was literally 1920s. Yes, I'm still making personal reparations with the proceeds of the book to my choice of Native American foundations, which I'm very happy about, and I'm sure there will be tinges of what I've been pondering in my new album that comes out September 5th. Thanks for reading. Happy quarantining. Okay, so that was quite a lot to digest, but as you can see, she's obviously kind of letting loose and just letting us know what she's kind of feeling, and obviously that's going to have some controversy with it because some of the subject matter that she did discuss had to do with feminism, had to do with other contemporary female artists that are out today, and obviously if you're going to involve other people's names, there's going to be people that are going to respond to that. So let's see some of the responses that some of you guys said. One user says, "She could have said all that without mentioning anyone. It was unnecessary." And then another user responded, "I wonder if she hadn't said names and just alluded to the artists, if people would have been like, who's she talking about, and been bothered by that. You can't really win on social media." Another user responds, "I feel like I'm being treated poorly because I want to sing about what I want to sing about. Would have been a lot cleaner, to be frank. She didn't even need to compare to anyone, unless she wanted to say something like, I was to sing as freely as, or something in that vein. You get the gist of it." Another user then continued, "Right, which is why people are saying she could have expressed the same message without mentioning a group of majority black women to compare herself against. It's petty and completely took away from her message." Another user then responded saying, "Not a race issue, so don't make it one. She brought those women up because they're on top of the charts right now. She's addressing the issue of them singing about the same thing she does, and yet they get number one spots while she gets crucified for it. gender issues and double standards. Okay. So personally, the bit I kind of have a problem with was the wording that she used. So she says, fucking, cheating, wearing no clothes. While those are descriptive words, they seem to be really front-loaded and seem to allude to what she kind of may perceive these other girls as. To me, it read a little bit derogatory, and I know she has said that she didn't mean it, but I do feel like there was like a slight negative air about it, so I don't know. Whether or not she considers herself a part of the liberated displays of feminism that she sees out there, we know that she can. She even has a song called The Other Woman, which is about being the other woman. So when it comes to the cheating aspect, I guess she knows that she is capable of the same kind of like qualities musically. It just felt like a very simplistic, uninspired choice of words to describe her female peers. So I feel like that is definitely kind of a concern. As a Lana fan, I'm wondering what she meant by that. So yeah, it's almost as if that's the underlying impression she has of these girls, you know, cheating, wearing no clothes. It often sounds like the same tropes that people would say when they're describing rap music. Oh, they just talk about money, they just talk about this, they wear no clothes, they talk about drugs and money, and it's like, it feels very stereotypical and kind of one-dimensional, when I'm sure if any of you have listened to these artists, they're very multi-dimensional. I'm not saying Lana was accusing them of being one-dimensional, but using those words definitely lets us into her psyche and maybe what she thinks. I have to admit, I guess it was kind of presumptive of her to assume that all of these artists were just kind of like welcomed and accepted into the mainstream, whereas we know that there's been plenty of times where a lot of these girls have not been accepted. A lot of them have had backlash from the public throughout the years. She kind of like singled herself out and placed herself in opposition with these other girls as if she's kind of like the underrepresented out there. This tweet was quite interesting. I'm not a feminist, but there must be a place for feminism for women who look and act like me, says the straight white woman. Point is, there is very much so a space for rich, white, able-bodied, thin, straight women in feminism. Take that as you will. And in a way, I'd have to slightly agree, because while I do empathise for Lana and I see what she's saying about the less kind of empowered version of females, I still feel like she is what you call the kind of accepted idea of what a perfect woman would be, especially in this kind of like semi-racist patriarchy that we live in. I know a lot of things are changing now and stuff, but women like Lana have always kind of been at the top of the status quo, if that makes sense. And I guess kind of strong, like sexually empowered women, especially women of colour, in the last 10-15 years, have they kind of stepped to the forefront, and now do they have kind of wider acceptance like into society, whereas in 10 years ago, if you was kind of like too curvy or too outspoken or too sexual, you would have been shunned to the sides. Lana to kind of feel like she's been underrepresented wouldn't be 100% accurate, but specifically for what she said about the different kind of facets of feminism, I can relate to that. Whatever we may think, it hasn't stopped the stans of Doja Cat, Nicki Minaj and Beyonce coming for Lana, because they literally just like let her have it. All I've been seeing on the timeline is just kind of like back and forth. There's half of Twitter are defending Lana, the other half are coming for her. One of these tweets say, let me remind you that none of Beyonce's white peers protected her during these times, especially during the very public and racist boycott against Beyonce in 2016. Yet you don't see Beyonce name dropping the girls on Instagram. Lana fan writes, hope Lana apologises because we Lana stans can't fight, we're depressed. And then another user replied, we don't have the stamina. I can testify to that, because a lot of her listeners aren't out here like with all of the chaotic energy that the Barbs or the Beehive might have, but a lot of them are like listening to Lana to kind of get into a mood and chill out and not really get into that confrontational zone. Lana, what are you doing? Your fans are out here like trying to defend you, but they ain't got the energy. They're too busy listening to Summertime Sadness. User says, I'm screaming that Lana knew not to mention Rihanna. Another one goes, Rihanna not releasing music for so long that Lana didn't even include her in her letter. I like that one. Doja Cat responded to Lana Del Rey's post that she was mentioned in, and she wrote, gang sunk that dunker. Now, I don't know what that means, and from the looks of it, neither does anybody else, but I guess it means sunk that dunker. Dunk? I don't know. But Doja Cat, let us know, please. And Lana Del Rey, please delete that post and apologise. We can't fight the Barbs. All of your stans are depressed. Sad face. That's cute. A Twitter user said, You all really want a poetry book written by Lana Del Rey, and you don't even have reading comprehension skills like that. Now that's, I guess, the fan kind of highlighting on the fact that about wasn't apparently dissing them or trying to insult them in any way, but instead when you turn to them when talking about modern day feminism, obviously feminism is a touchy subject, and then when you use like kind of like loaded words like that, people are going to maybe misinterpret what you meant, so it's going to be hard. And I did mention Ariana Grande and Camila Cabello in her Instagram post, and some believe this does refute the claims that she was coming for black women specifically. Others do believe including their names was a form of affirmative action. Now, that's a little dark joke for you guys. But a time later, Lana then responded to all the controversy surrounding her post, to which she stated, to be clear, because I know you love to twist things, I fucking love these singers and know them. That is why I mentioned them. I would also like to have some of the same freedom of expression without judgment of hysteria. There you go. Continues. By the way, the singers I mentioned are my favourite singers, so if you want to try and make a bone to pick out of. And so if you want to try and make a bone to pick out of, like you always do, be my guest. It doesn't change the fact that I haven't had the same opportunity to express what I wanted to express without being completely decimated. And if you want to say that has something to do with race, that's your opinion, but that's not what I was saying. Especially then later continues, bro, this is sad to make it about a woman of colour issue. When I'm talking about my favourite singers, I could have literally said anyone, but I picked my favourite fucking people, and this is the problem of society today. Not everything is about whatever you want it to be. It's exactly the point of my post. There are certain women that culture doesn't want to have a voice, and it may not have to do with race. I don't know what it has to do with. I don't care anymore, but don't ever, 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 bro, call me racist, because that is shit. Well, she said that. She said that. She said she's not racist, so I kind of want to believe her, and I think I do believe her. I honestly don't feel like she has hatred within her heart, especially for something as stupid as the colour of your skin. While I could comment on maybe her subconscious state, because a lot of people around the world, even people of colour themselves, they have like a lot of subconscious biases ingrained within their minds, and then they might not even be aware of their own prejudices. The interesting point is that apparently Lana Del Rey mentioned these artists because they were at the top of the charts now, and obviously with Doja Cat and Nicki Minaj's recent #1, this could have given her some sort of enthusiasm to go ahead and do this post, which does also kind of like further the point where she almost might feel like she's being underrepresented, and certain girls that aren't like her or who don't act or look like her seems to be getting all the limelight, and maybe she feels like she's entitled to some of it. I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing there is a way that you can communicate your points without specifically targeting someone. Now, as a long-time Lana fan, I've been listening to her since the beginning, 2012, and I've been there through kind of every public situation that she's gone through, including the SNL performance at the beginning, some of the comments that she's made controversially throughout the years, but nothing as controversial as this, it seems. I know that there was an air of negativity surrounding her musical content and her lyrical content. I've listened to every single Lana song that's out there, so I can definitely contribute to this conversation as somebody that knows what she likes to talk about sonically, musically, as we know. This is how I like it. I watched every Lana interview that's out there, and I can see why she may be tired of being labelled as like the damsel in distress, seeing as though she's glamorizing abuse, but can understand her frustration and where she's coming from. At the same time, maybe she should redirect her anger to the publications and all of those institutions out there that kind of emphasize these opinions about her and kind of put them out there into the world, because I'm pretty sure that it wasn't Doja Cat, or Nicki Minaj. A lot of these girls have never mentioned Lana. For her to take her kind of frustration on the industry and all of the negative opinions that she's had to endure out on somebody else. I feel like saying that she was taking her frustration out on them, but by name dropping them and not really name dropping anybody else, you can kind of put two and two together. So I feel like she could have been spared by the mainstream critics, and perhaps it would have maybe evolved her mind to be different, and then she wouldn't feel so defensive these days. I personally never really had a problem with Lana's submissive, femme fatale kind of personality she has on her music. I've in fact enjoyed a lot of it, and singing along to a lot of the lyrics where you feel the realness within the song. I've loved it. Ultraviolence, where she says Jim hit her and it felt like a kiss. Like, there's something interesting about those lyrics, and I definitely feel like music and artistry shouldn't have kind of labels and limitations. And if Lana in any way felt like she was underrepresented or kind of had a lot of stigma against her, I'd have to maybe kind of argue against that, because her first album, Born to Die, was very, very successful, not just in America, but around the world. Extremely respected on the alternative indie scene. I know a lot of people consider her queen of the alternative scene, and I definitely consider her queen. For her to make such a controversial statement, perhaps she should have added Rolling Stone or Pitchfork instead. On a post, she says, I think it's pathetic that my minor lyrical exploration detailing my sometimes submissive or passive roles in my relationships has often made people say I've set women back hundreds of years. Now, people aren't going to love everything that you do, and I wouldn't say that this is the general consensus for her music. Now, I know she is obviously experiencing things from her isolated point of view. From what I've gathered, a lot of people do love her, and it's more of a positive kind of feedback towards her more than it is these negative kind of tropes. I mean, if someone likes criticism, it doesn't really justify her equating herself or comparing herself to the other similar negative feminist tropes. Actually saying, these other girls get away with their trash music, so why can't I? And that's what she said, let's be honest, in other words. Lana says in her post that she's not a feminist, which is fine. We don't have to equate being a woman to automatically being a feminist, but it does kind of allude to maybe her complacency when advocating for female rights. Who knows? Lana, and I know what I'd like to see, to be honest. I'd love to see Lana out there side by side with other strong females, you know, just fighting the good fight. And that may be a fantasy that I may not get. That's fine. I can live with Lana respectively being a neutral character in this, but then also at the same time that kind of does indicate where she may stand in terms of what she thinks about, I don't know, the image or the narrative around females these days, or around women and everything that goes on. So this also says in her post that women are slated mercilessly for being their delicate, authentic selves. Now, delicate, I don't know what that means, because by describing some of the other girls as being very outgoing, being quite strong in their kind of aspects of feminism, to describe herself as delicate is, I don't know, it's interesting. Delicate as opposed to strong women of colour. I don't know what she meant by that. Maybe we're reading into it too much, but yeah, I do get what she's saying, because if anybody knows Lana Del Rey or her music, she isn't afraid of portraying the kind of submissive, receptive kind of female, the woman who's very excited or very happy to wait for her man, and who's very happy to kind of assume maybe the traditional not so independent roles, and that's fine, and I really kind of enjoyed that. I said before, a lot of Lana's music and lyrics I enjoy. There's a difference in change. While Beyonce and Ariana and all the other girls, they can be kind of parading around talking about being strong and being independent, and it's okay if you want to be a female that wants to be delicate and wants to be gentle and submissive and stuff. And I think she could have said these points validly, completely fine, if she just wasn't using the other girls as a comparison. So again, I will reiterate, if she just didn't name drop, I feel like a lot of points she made would be very valid still. The point I'll make about the alleged disses towards Beyonce, Nicki, etc. is that people like Beyonce especially have known many years where she's always been very popular, but she's also faced a lot of hate and a lot of criticism for so many different things throughout the years. Women have endured severe criticism from a very racist world, and I'm not saying that the world is like that anymore, because I know that we are moving forward, but it would be kind of naive to think that people still don't have old worldly ways of thinking, because they actually do. And with Trump being voted in the last few years, and mark my words, I reckon he'll be re-elected this November, it just confirms that there are a lot of people out there that aren't willing to kind of have the conversation or willing to kind of look further or look past their own problems. And I think that was Lana's issue today. I don't think she meant anything malicious by what she said, but I feel like she did kind of display a sense of subconscious something, and I guess we can only try and educate instead of, I don't know, just cancel them straight out. But whose responsibility is it to educate? Is it ours, or is it the individual's own responsibility to take it upon themselves to learn something more? despite to be very vocal when it comes to certain figures. So despite Kanye West being crazy and I can't really stand the man at all, she didn't seem to feel any way about kind of coming out there and expressing her thoughts and her opinions about him, where she seems to have been silent when it comes to other people that could use the criticism and could use the extra condemnation. Was elected, I remember her saying that she's going to do a hex or something, or she encouraged witches around the world to do a hex on him, which is a good thing because hopefully it works. But other than that, it's very kind of passive form of activism, you know, like she didn't ever say anything explicitly to him, but then when it comes to Kanye West and now with a few other women of color, there's a little bit of a trend as to who she's comfortable to call out and who she isn't. James Franco, who I know she's very close with, for example, has been accused of several things, allegedly, of course, and I don't know if Lana has bothered to kind of use her voice to do that. I hear that she's also going to have a police officer as well, which is fine, obviously, but I guess Blue Lives Matter, right? All these small clues could allude to a worrying picture, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. As we know, she's always acted impulsively online. Just check out these tweets where when her album leaked, her the benefit very funny, and she seems to not hold back when she wants to say something, and I guess that's good because honesty is key. We want everyone to be their authentic selves, and I guess sometimes being a bit too authentic or being a bit too real without thinking about it so much can get you into hot water. I think that Lana has good intentions. I just think maybe she should just dive a little further and do a bit more research on the subjects that she's talking about before making them. With the president notice, she included this at the end of the post. It says, "Yes, I'm still making personal reparations with the proceeds of the book to my choice of Native American foundations, which I'm very happy about, and I'm sure there will be tinges of what I've been pondering and blah, blah, blah." So that is basically alluding the reparations and contributing to the Native American charities of her choice is because if you have watched her video Ride for 2011, she did don a Native American headpiece there. Not to say of cultural appropriation, you just can't get away with those kind of things. I feel like deep down, it's not my place to say because I'm not Native American, so my outrage would be misplaced. But I feel like it was kind of an ignorant move, but not a malicious move. But still, you like to think that grown adults, like halfway through their life or quarter way through their lives, would be able to make informed, smart decisions, you know. To the gravity goes to show that she might have once upon a time been kind of oblivious to the gravity of social history, and in their woke age and we're in the age of information, it's kind of hard to let mistakes down to ignorance, whereas in, you know, Google is a friend and we are able to educate ourselves if we want. There's a line in her song Cola, which is from her Paradise Edition EP, line on there that I thought was quite interesting. Now, I didn't think it was that harmful, but it did maybe let me in on a few things. And that line is, "I wear my diamonds on Skid Row," which is interesting because I guess she's not afraid of taking risks and wearing our diamonds to undesirable places. It does how'd you say it?
Beauty juxtaposed.
Hint at the juxtaposition. Vision on social disparity.
Yeah, that's it. Done. Got it.
It does hint at her juxtaposition to social disparity, especially within LA, which she loves to name drop within her songs. I think LA has one of the biggest cases of homelessness throughout that country. So for her to kind of be so out of touch with the realities going on, especially because she loves California and Los Angeles so much, you'd think that maybe she would choose better wording within Okay, so let's talk about the Americana themes within Lana Del Rey's music, and let's try and figure out if she's got a potential Republican personality, because she could possibly, potentially. Where's my notes? What do my notes say?
I like that.
Potential Republican personality.
Just regard.
Yeah, just now.
Theories on that, like which artists do you think have a sly potential Republican personality? Like, who's an undercover Republican up in this?
Who's under? Oh, you reveal yourself now. Really quick. At the moment, there are signs, but I'm really hoping that isn't the case. I did read somewhere that apparently she's very politically centered, so you couldn't really consider her a Democrat or Republican, but there's certain things that are questionable, so I'm hoping that she's not, because she's got to fight for our rights, girl. You've got to fight for the gays. Fight for the gays and the girls, Lana. Don't be a traitor. Come to the good side. Dream. I think that Lana doesn't promote the Americana because she's patriotic exactly, but because she's more in love with the American dream and like the fantasy and the aesthetic behind the American dream. Really go out there and say that she's a make America great again kind of candidate, even though she does have the whole Americana thing going on, but then it still does make me wonder, would she be? And I'm kind of wondering if she feels like reminiscent or she misses less progressive days and wouldn't mind if we wasn't in such a progressive world now, because she seems to be in awe with that time era. Would she be on the front lines? Would she be there with the civil rights movement? Like, I don't know. Which side would we see Lana on? Which side would we see Lizzie Grant? Miss Elizabeth, what's her name? Yes, Elizabeth Grant. Onto a too much of a personal note, but as a long-time fan of Lana, I've kind of followed her and what she's done. I even follow her sister on Instagram. I don't want to make too many personal statements about them, but we do know that Lana has come from a very affluent, kind of upstate, privileged life in New York, that she has suffered from alcoholism and drug abuse, that she hasn't had the most stable kind of adolescent life, but at the same time we can't take away from the fact that she may not know what it's like. She can. The fact that her upbringing was so kind of like white picket fence, upstate bourgeoisie kind of essence, I'm wondering if she can relate to people like Nicki Minaj, or she can relate to Doja Cat and stuff. Like it or not, your upbringing and your parents and your surroundings do determine the way you kind of evolve and how the way you think of the world and how you see people, the subconscious things you're thinking, they are affected by your surroundings. So who's to say that she hasn't had this almost kind of sheltered existence where it's kind of hard for her to relate or put herself in other people's shoes? Am I reaching? I don't know. Perhaps. Let me know, guys. I'd listen to. And just for the record, I will say that there's a lot more Lana songs that I'd listen to, say, compared to Cardi B or Doja Cat, who have one or two singles I like. But if I had to choose, it would be Lana's music I'd listen to more of. Still making sure to take away my personal bias and my personal love for the artist and try and objectively see the situation for what it is. Now, she's collaborated with A$AP Rocky on a few of her tracks, and I find that to be quite interesting because A$AP Rocky has been known assaulted dark-skinned black women. And we don't like colorism, obviously. I don't like it, and I feel like Lana hasn't collaborated with many other rappers apart from A$AP Rocky, and I'm guessing that's because she has a personal friendship with him, but it's hard to separate the act from the friend. But I would like to think that Lana would have paid a bit more attention to who she was endorsing or to who she was collaborating with and made sure they were really part of the culture that she likes to speak of, because A$AP Rocky for me isn't a good contributor to the culture despite his fashion sense or whatnot. He has said a few controversial things on that, and I personally don't listen to his music, but when you're going to insult dark-skinned melanated woman, you're cancelled for me, basically. So the fact that she was collaborating with him multiple times shows me that she wasn't really aware of the social kind of, I don't know, instances that are happening out there, which is fine because we don't all need to be aware of everything at all times. But then also kind of the way she co-opts the hip-hop sound, her song Summer Bummer, which was on her Lust for Life album, I think, and it had A$AP Rocky and Playboi Carti on it. I was thinking, this is inauthentic. This doesn't feel like a song that, I don't know. Obviously, she must have liked it to put it on the album, but it felt very inauthentic. I highly doubt that she's out here listening to Playboi Carti's album. Now, I could be wrong, and she might be the biggest fan of him, but I feel like she sometimes co-opts hip-hop culture just for tokenism, almost, just to kind of, I don't know, have an urban edge or an urban flair, and it feels tiny bit disingenuous. Not to say that she doesn't appreciate the genre, because I'm sure she does, but if you really did love hip-hop or the genre, you would definitely try to delve into the genre and the culture a bit more instead of just kind of reaching for the nearest rapper you can find. And it's often this thing that a lot of the other musicians do out there as well, like Camilla, Halsey, all of these kind of basic pop girls. They go to these rappers for these copy and paste features, and it's boring. You can just tell that nobody's listening to that rap verse. Like, you don't like that rap verse, Camilla. You don't like it, but who am I now? Let me just chill out a bit. Monster. So, is Lana Del Rey cancelled? That is the question we're asking. And if you ask me, I personally don't think she is cancelled. Not because I agree or I endorse what she said, but I feel like this cancel culture thing only goes so far, and those people criticizing Lana, including myself today, kind of questioning her motives behind this post, I don't think that should be kind of lumped in as cancel culture, because I feel like it's more of an open debate and kind of challenging thoughts and opinions, and for a lot of people out there just to kind of lump everybody's criticism of her as cancel culture would be kind of dismissive and minimizing to people that might have had a legit issue with it. And yeah, I don't feel like she'll be cancelled. I feel like Lana Del Rey is here to stay. I'm definitely going to be listening to her again. This is not going to stop me from listening to Born to Die or Gods and Monsters or countless other songs that I love of hers. But yeah, I'm going to try and separate the artist from her music, if that's even possible now. Controversy surrounding the post, all of her albums re-entered the charts, so I find that quite interesting as well, because obviously we have a very polarizing situation happening where half the people are condemning her, where the other half are reaffirming their love by going to stream the album or going to buy it. So can you really call her cancelled? I doubt it, because there are going to be people that support and there are going to be people that are against, in no matter what you do, and that's just kind of the way it is. So Lana then continued off of her other posts, and she just kind of put up a picture of herself on her Instagram with the hashtag fuck off. So I'm guessing she's tired, she's bored, she's done with all of the influx of hate and stuff or criticism, and I guess it kind of shows that she's maybe not willing to engage in the conversation so much. I know she's already clarified her points, but maybe she is not seeing it exactly from another person's point of view. So she's a girl that doesn't take no prisoners, featuring The Weeknd. I was just about to say Megan Thee Stallion, but Megan Fox also responded to Lana's statement. She said, "There is never a need to compare yourself to other women. I know the struggle of being a woman in the industry. I know the feeling of being constantly scrutinized and degraded, but I would never invalidate the struggles other women have faced in order to give up voice to mine, especially when those women have most likely faced worse. I'm on your side, but please accept that your struggle is not a singular one." Wow, look at Megan Fox really stepping up. I guess I'll say that this kind of makes me sad, because I like being sad listening to Lana Del Rey. That's one of my favourite things to do. So it's going to be kind of bittersweet now when I listen to her music, knowing her personal beliefs so much. I know she didn't say too much, but it's enough for me to kind of remold what I thought about her. And yeah, so I'm not going to ramble too much. I think I've covered most things, and I think I might have touched on all of the different points that people have been saying out there. Please let me know if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you think I missed something. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about next. TV shows, music, albums. I know Chromatica by Lady Gaga is coming out next week, so I'm going to try and do a video for that. So we shall see. But yeah, until then guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I love you all, and I shall see you soon.